bachelor's degree in accounting from Purdue. As an undergraduate, she was named the first student member of the Indiana Commission for Higher Education and was appointed by then-Governor Evan Bayh as the first African-American woman to hold a seat on the Purdue Board of Trustees. After graduating from Purdue, she earned a law degree from Emory University and started her career as an assistant district attorney here in Atlanta. She returned to Purdue for an MBA and joined Guyton Corporation, which became Boston Scientific, in talent acquisition and other areas. She recently was named Human Resources Director at UCB, a global biopharmaceutical company. Would you please help me welcome Jody Russell?
One that I absolutely love and one that just drives me nuts. I love talking about Purdue University and all the gifts that Purdue has given me. I absolutely hate talking about myself. So I'm going to have to find a way to do both tonight in a way that hopefully will tell my story and be an encouragement. Just hopefully you'll find it somewhat entertaining and helpful. So I'll just ask for your help tonight, as I know I don't really like to talk about myself, but I'm going to do my best. One other thing I'd like to do is I think we all know we don't get places by ourselves, so I am very fortunate to have family with me today. I have my UCB family, so Shawnee, Jamie, and Steve, thank you for coming to support me. My extended family, and Kara and Laura that are here, and my mom, who is the president, CEO, member number 1 million of the Jody Russell fan club. So thank you. When I thought about what to talk about tonight, it was really kind of easy and hard at the same time, because there's so much I wanted to share, but I knew there was a limited amount of time. So I thought about what Purdue gave me, and the words that came to me were unexpected gifts. Unexpected gifts is really the best demonstration of what Purdue means to me now and what it meant to me when I went. I'll start by just saying how I ended up at Purdue was completely by accident. I'm from Fort Wayne, Indiana, about 2 hours away, and I did not really want to go to Purdue. I had applied to Harvard and I'd gotten into Duke, and I was just like, I'm supposed to go somewhere far away, and Howard, I'm just supposed to do something different. And I got admitted to Purdue and actually sent the card back and said, thanks, but no thanks. And I don't even know why. It was just, I think I just felt like I was supposed to do something really different. And I don't know why I didn't feel like that was different, because I didn't know a lot of people, a lot of young women who went to Purdue. I knew young men from Fort Wayne who were going to Purdue. I didn't know a lot of young women. But in any event, I had an opportunity to go to Purdue for a weekend after I'd already basically committed to go to another school. And I was like, oh my goodness, I love this place. I love the Cranner School. I love the people that I met. And Dr. Cornell Bell, who was head of the Business Opportunity Program at the time, I was sitting with him, and he's like, oh, you belong here. And he was just like, we're going to make sure we get you all set up. And I was like, yeah. And he said, let me call. When he called the admission officer, like, she's no longer in our system. And I was like, I don't know what they're talking about. I don't know, Dr. Bell, you better fix that. And Dr. Bell called someone, and like literally before I was back in Fort Wayne, I was readmitted. I didn't have housing, so 3 other young ladies and I lived in married student housing because we admitted too late to actually get in the dorms. So it was just amazing how that became an unexpected gift for me. My first day on campus, I went to the Business Opportunity Program, but when I came to Cranner, I was just swarmed by people who wanted to see me succeed. And I couldn't believe it. It was just like, wow, this is really cool. These people don't know me, but they are already invested in my success. And that wasn't just Dr. Bells and Barb Dosters in the world, but those were juniors and seniors on campus who just, saw something in me, and they were like, we know you're going to make this place a better place, and we're going to help do it. So when I got ready to choose my major, and I told my dad, I was like, I'm going to major in HR. My dad's an HR guy. My dad went to Purdue. You know, like, okay, this is all good. My dad's like, yeah, major in HR. You need to be in, I said, I'm in school business. He's like, accounting is the only true science of business. The only true science of business. I was like, I don't know what that means, but my dad, always knows best. So I majored in accounting. I never really loved it, but I was pretty good at it. And I'll share with you a little bit later about why that was another unexpected gift. But I never took a CPA exam. I did all my internships in accounting. But it was a really strong major for me. It taught me a lot about stretching myself in directions that I had never experienced. It taught me, I always felt like I was pretty good at the soft skills. That taught me to be detail-oriented and to really focus on, things have to tie out. Life doesn't always tie out, but this is one area of my life that's going to tie out. So it was really nice to have that, at least for a little stint in life. The other gift that I can say from my undergraduate years is my work on the board of trustees. One of those juniors, Taurus Richardson, when I was a freshman, he basically told me, he said, you're going to be on the board of trustees. I didn't know what the board of trustees was. And he picked me up for my internship in Chicago and drove me down to Terre Haute to do the interviews for the first round. His tire blew out with Dan Ryan. I was terrified, but he was a gift to my development, and I got to be a part of legislation that you guys are enjoying now. I got to be a part of the team that actually drafted the student government initiative that now closes campus on Labor Day and Martin Luther King holiday. That didn't exist my freshman and sophomore year. I was part of the group that drafted it, and I was on the board of trustees that approved it. So to be a part of changing the way Purdue does business, the way Purdue honors diversity, and the way they honor their workforce, I thought was something really special. Additionally, when I was in my undergrad years, I was on the board of trustees, but everybody's always coupled. There's a husband and wife, or a wife and a husband. So whenever there was a trustee event, I was a single. So I would always, I was like, oh my gosh, it was kind of hard for me to find folks that wanted to do those kind of events when I was in undergrad. It was just tough. And my friend circle, so I go to things as a singleton, and I remember going to one dinner, and I was just like, I asked 2 people to go with me. And they were like, can't do it. Can't do it. It's cold, it looks kind of boring. So I went as a singleton. I put on, I want to say it was my mother's suit. And I ended up at the table having dinner with Neil Armstrong, because he was there by himself as well. So it was just like, how do you just keep giving me all these gifts? And it was really wonderful. So who gets that opportunity at 20 years old to sit down and have dinner with the first man to walk on the moon? It was amazing to get that and all that, because, Dr. Bell made a few calls and got me back in the university. So I'll move a little forward, because I left Purdue and always wanted to be I wanted to be a sports agent. So my kind of inspiration was a Purdue grad, Eugene Parker, and he went to law school after Purdue, so I was like, well, that's what I'll do too. Another gift from Purdue, I applied to law school, and on my first day at law school, they had this big thing where they had everybody in a room, and they yelled out all these wonderful things about the people in my first year class. And they were like, oh, this guy, managed a minor league baseball team. This person holds 2 patents. And they were like, one of your classmates got a letter of recommendation from the president of the university, the governor of their state, and Senator Lugar. And I was just like, wow, it seems kind of like I just called around, but those are people I had worked with. Those are people who knew me. Those are people who had helped me work on policy for education in Indiana. So I remember people in my class were like, oh, she just probably has a parent or somebody who knows somebody. But they were people who actually knew me and could speak about the kind of person that I was. So that was a gift that I got from Purdue, another unexpected gift. When I left law school, I went to the Fulton County DA's office, just a few miles from here. And it was my whole sports agent thing didn't turn out, but we don't have time for that. So I ended up I went into a recession-proof industry, which is crime. So when I joined the DA's office here in Atlanta, I had never wanted to be a trial lawyer. I never dreamed to be. I wasn't one of those people who grew up thinking, oh my gosh, I'm going to be a trial lawyer. I never really wanted to be a lawyer. I just wanted to negotiate back contracts for athletes. And it'd be like Jerry Maguire or something. So the whole, I got out of law school and, I had to work out a plan B pretty quickly. So I was thinking back, another unexpected gift from Purdue, Com 114. Oh my goodness, I was so good in front of juries. I mean, I was amazed. I didn't know that much about the law, but I could make juries cry, I could make them laugh. And for those of you who know something about this part of town, when you have a jury, it's like the North Fulton area, and then you have right down around the Georgia Dome, so you have a real eclectic mix of your jury. So you have to be able to connect and relate with a wide array of people. And that was another gift from Cranmer, because when I studied in Com 114 and I was in diverse team groups, I always had to figure out, okay, how can I get my message across to this audience? I can't just get my message across to people from Fort Wayne or people from my sorority or people who, are accounting majors. I have to be able to relate to a lot of different people and speak to their needs. So for me, that was a gift that allowed me to survive the DA's office. And after a couple of years, I realized that I really didn't want to be a prosecutor. So I was muddling through lots of really kind of horrendous cases in terms of what goes on in the world, the things you just really don't want to know about. And I was walking one day just by happenstance in downtown Atlanta, and I ran into one of my classmates from Emory, and he was like, "Don't you have an accounting degree from Purdue?" I was like, "How did you know that?" And he was like, "Yeah." He said, "And don't you speak German?" And I said, "Yes." He said, "I'm leading the international tax practice at Arthur Andersen, and I'm looking for somebody for our German tax practice. Are you interested?" And I was like, "Yes." I had never taken the CPA exam, but I had such a strong foundation, and Purdue had such an excellent reputation that stuck in his head 3 years after we graduated from law school, and it allowed me a venue into an area that made more sense for me professionally. So yet another unexpected gift from Purdue and my daddy around that. Only true science of business, accounting. So when I got to Arthur Andersen, it was a pure consulting role, and that was just second nature coming from Purdue. When you've been in Cranmer and you've had to work on cases, you've had to develop strategies, and you've had to sell those strategies to a wide array of audiences, working in consulting is second nature. I felt so prepared, even being removed from that with my stint in law school, my stint at the DA's office. I just felt so ready to go into, I represented airlines, I represented energy companies, and I was able to go in and be very well prepared with my technical background that Purdue gave me, as well as my presentation and just, confidence. The confidence that I came from a world-class university, and I was not going to take a backseat to anyone else. So another gift, because I was scared to death. When I went to Arthur Andersen, I was like, oh my gosh, do they know I'm not a CPA? Do they know that I was an okay accountant, but I was really good in front of clients, and I attribute that to my gifts from Purdue. While I was at Arthur Andersen, I started doing things that I probably shouldn't have done. I started developing mentorship programs, recruiting programs, diversity programs, onboarding programs, and I was a senior level tax associate with a high billable rate, so my leadership was like, we're not paying you to do that. It's just, that's not what you're supposed to do. And I was like, but this is what I want to do. And I was like, well, I'll look externally. When I looked externally, they're like, well, you don't have an HR degree, you don't have HR experience. My next unexpected gift came from Purdue. Because I was on the board of trustees, I am part of any bowl contingent. So when Purdue goes to a bowl, they invite all the former trustees to go. That year we happened to be going to the Rose Bowl. And I went to the Rose Bowl, and I met this brand new dean that I was there with Dean Weidenauer, so I didn't know. They said, hey, we got a new dean, you want to go meet him? And I went, and he said, hey, my name is Rick Kozier. And how are you? And I was like, I'm good. He's like, so what do you do? And I started telling him what I did. And he was like, so what do you want to do? It's almost like he could read my mind. And I was like, I really want to do HR. I said, but I'm not sure that I want to give up all this. I have a technical background. And he was like, well, why don't you just come back to Purdue and get you an MBA, and you can do the HR curriculum as well. And I said, I didn't really think about that. But okay, so it was just that simple. I trusted Purdue and what Purdue had to offer. So